5 police cars are stationed outside the house. What in the world happened? One morning, during a work trip in Europe, I woke up in my hotel room to a frantic text from my younger sister, her message punctuated with a flurry of exclamation points that screamed her distress. The reason for those police cars? I had summoned them, fueled by a sharp, icy fury. The story starts a week before that text arrived. I'm Kristen, 35, and I work for a global consulting firm, spending half my time jetting between international client sites. My job involves managing massive projects that can shape the fate of entire companies, often demanding round-the-clock focus on strategy and analysis. It's a demanding career, built on years of sacrificing rest and personal time, but it rewards me with a substantial income and the thrill of engaging with the pulse of the global economy. A few years ago, I purchased a suburban home, a testament to my hard work and my soul haven. With its lofty ceilings, sun-drenched windows, and minimalist yet cozy decor, every element reflected the stronghold I'd created through my own efforts, a space no one could touch. For someone like me, constantly adrift in impersonal hotel rooms worldwide, this home, filled with warm wood tones and cherished artwork, was the one place where I could just be Kristen. My younger sister, 3 years younger, and I have always been opposites. She's outspoken, never hesitating to voice her desires, while I bottle up my feelings and keep my restraint. Her spontaneity often threw my plans into chaos, and my logical nature clashed with her emotional tendencies. It wasn't just differing personalities, it was a deep-seated disconnect. When she married her long-term boyfriend early, her husband and in-laws entered the picture, further straining our already distant bond. Holiday gatherings, like Thanksgiving or Christmas, were tense affairs where we tiptoed around each other with polite small talk, careful not to encroach on one another's boundaries. That arrangement worked for us sisters, at least until that day. I had just wrapped up an exhausting week-long financial restructuring project in Europe's banking sector and returned home 2 days ahead of schedule. After grueling nights of negotiations, the relief of securing final client approval was immense. I couldn't wait to retreat to my peaceful sanctuary. The flight was smooth, and by early afternoon, I stood before my familiar home. The charming path lined with blooming flowers, the stylish front door. I imagined sinking into my beloved sofa, catching up on shows I'd missed. Clutching that small but precious sense of joy, I turned the key in the lock. But the moment I opened the door, my plans crumbled. Someone was inside, more than one person. The air felt off. An odd mix of unfamiliar household smells and construction dust assaulted my senses. From the slightly ajar living room door came rough male voices, the high-pitched whine of drills boring into walls, and the heavy thump of hammering. Burglars? No, something wasn't right. Scattered across my polished entryway tiles were unfamiliar work boots and sneakers, among them the flashy neon designer sneakers my sister had shown off online. A cold dread tightened my chest. Quietly, I moved down the hallway, my heels silent, and lightly gripped the living room doorknob. Steeling myself, I flung it open. What exactly is going on here? My voice was steady, calmer than I'd expected. Before me was my home, yet not my home. At the far end of the living room was the open kitchen I'd meticulously selected after touring Italian design shows. Its stunning tiled wall was torn apart, pipes hanging like exposed veins. The master bathroom and toilets were in similar disarray, workers hammering away as if it were a demolition zone, ripping out plumbing. Debris and torn wallpaper littered the floor. Tools were strewn across my custom kitchen counter, marred with grease and dust. And at the heart of this chaos stood my sister, arms crossed, reigning like a monarch. Beside her, her husband offered a passive smile, devoid of initiative. Nearby, her in-laws lounged on my cherished sofa, sipping tea as if they owned the place. My unexpected return froze everyone. The drilling stopped, and a heavy silence fell, as if time itself paused. My sister's voice broke the quiet, bright and unapologetic. "Oh, Kristen, you're back early. Surprise. Isn't this great? While you were gone, we decided to revamp the kitchen and bathrooms for you. Since we'll be moving in, the old setup wasn't practical, right? Your taste is lovely, but for family life, it needs to be more functional, Don't you agree? Her words didn't register immediately. Moving in, renovation, each word was familiar, but together they felt like a foreign tongue. Was it jet lag? For a moment, I stared blankly at the scene, torn pipes, scattered debris, and my own relatives wrecking my property while acting like they belonged. A deep anger surged within me, cold and clear. Kristen, don't just stand there. Come sit, you must be exhausted from your trip, came a voice from the sofa. My sister's father-in-law, speaking with the calm authority of someone who thought he ruled this house. That single sentence snapped me out of my daze. A realization hit. I'd unlocked the front door myself. No scratches, no signs of forced entry. How had they gotten in? I'd never shared a spare key. Before that, let me ask something, I said, ignoring his invitation and locking eyes with my sister. How did you get into my house? I never gave anyone a key, and the door wasn't tampered with. She hesitated, then flashed a smug grin, as if it were the most obvious thing. Oh, the key. At Christmas, I borrowed your keyring for a bit and had a copy made. You're always away on long trips, and we never know when you'll be back. So family should have a spare, right? Did I really need to ask? Of course. The realization struck like a bell. This was no spur-of-the-moment act. It was a calculated invasion of my sanctuary. Time for when I'd be gone. That knowledge turned my anger into a steely resolve. I turned to the workers, who were eyeing me nervously. They weren't to blame, likely victims themselves. Excuse me, who hired you for this job? My voice was flat, businesslike. The foreman, shifting uncomfortably, pointed to my sister. This lady. She said the homeowner. Her sister was away on extended trips, so she was handling the renovation for her. I nodded slowly, then spoke with finality. I see. Thank you. I'm Kristen, the homeowner. I never approved any renovation. Whatever contract you have, I'm ordering you as the legal owner to stop all work immediately and leave this property. You'll be paid for today and compensated for the inconvenience later. My authoritative tone left no room for debate. The workers exchanged looks, then quietly powered down their tools. Hey, what are you saying, Kristen? I told them it's fine. So it's fine, my sister shrieked. I ignored her outburst, turning my cold gaze to the four intruders. This is my house, not yours. Why are you here, destroying my home without permission? Explain it in words I can understand. Why are you so upset? We're family. Give us a break, her father-in-law said, tossing out the word family as if it gave him rights, despite being a near stranger I'd met only a few times. If my own father had said it, I might have paused, felt a twinge of sadness. But this man, his audacity, wielding family like a weapon, pushed my anger to a breaking point. I locked eyes with him and said, my voice calm but cutting, family? Let's not pretend. With all due respect, you're a stranger to me. Yet here you are, in my home, lecturing me. I find that unthinkable. His face reddened with indignation, his voice trembling as he continued. My son's family is struggling financially. They can't even afford rent. You're always away, and this house is huge, with so many empty rooms. So I arranged for them to move in. The plumbing was outdated, so we started renovations out of kindness. Isn't that what family does? You should be thankful, not angry. Thankful. The word snapped my last thread of restraint. You made a spare key, entered my home without permission, and started demolishing my property. And you expect me to be thankful? Your idea of normal is nothing like mine. This isn't kindness. It's trespassing and deliberate destruction. Get out in 1 minute, or I'm calling the police. I pulled out my phone, displaying the emergency number, 911. Their smug expressions vanished. The in-laws hurled insults, ungrateful. So cold, while my sister's husband stood there, flustered. My sister glared at me, her eyes burning with despair and hatred. After they muttered and left, I turned to the workers, formally ending their contract. The foreman, visibly embarrassed, accepted the cash I handed over for their day's work and inconvenience, promising to follow up with their company. I needed these strangers out of my sanctuary immediately. Alone. The house fell into a heavy silence, but it was no longer the haven I knew. The ruined walls, scattered debris, and lingering tension left by the intruders made that clear. That same day, I called a locksmith to install advanced digital locks that couldn't be copied or picked. Then I contacted the country's top security firm, sparing no expense, AI-powered cameras covering every inch of the property, high-sensitivity intrusion sensors on every window and door, and a 24/7 alarm system linked to the police. I also hired a reputable contractor to fix the damaged plumbing. The unexpected costs hurt, but protecting my home and peace of mind felt like a vital investment. That night, I sat on the debris-strewn living room floor, knees drawn up. Since we were kids, my sister always coveted what was mine. My favorite doll, my best dress, my closest friend. My parents always said, "You're the older sister, let her have it. You're the older sister, just deal with it." Each time, I swallowed the frustration of having my boundaries crossed and stayed silent. Now I saw this incident as an extension of that pattern. Our parents, both gone now, had always favored my sister. My father melted at her tears. My mother's go-to was, "If you give in, it'll all work out." With them gone, the fragile balance of our relationship collapsed, and my sister's demands grew unchecked. I no longer had to tolerate unfairness. There was no one left to turn to, no parents to lean on. I had to protect this house myself. I wasn't a child anymore. I knew what I could compromise on and what I had to defend. This home was non-negotiable. Days later, as expected, they launched a second attack. Not physical, but a sly campaign to tarnish my reputation. Calls came from distant relatives. "Kristen, I heard your sister's family is struggling. They're homeless, can't pay rent. Your house is empty, why not help them out? They're your blood." Clearly, they'd spun a story painting themselves as victims and me as the heartless sister. Then came anonymous silent calls, day and night. On social media, my sister's accounts posted snide, stinging remarks almost daily. Each time, I stripped away emotion, took screenshots, noted dates, times, and URLs, and saved them in a folder labeled evidence. I blocked their notifications, refusing to let their words invade my life, but I kept communication open, anticipating they might send something incriminating. Their calls and messages continued like a barrage, but I ignored them all. Dialogue ended the moment they trashed my home. After fortifying my house and enduring their psychological attacks, a tense calm settled in. Weeks passed in an uneasy quiet, like the hush before a storm. I knew they hadn't given up. They were waiting for a crack in my defenses. Preparing for another overseas trip, I obsessively checked the security system. The camera streamed perfectly to my phone, covering every angle. Motion sensors were at maximum sensitivity. With a sliver of unease, I left the country. A week into my trip, in the dead of night, it happened. I just finished reviewing materials for a major presentation in a European city and had collapsed into bed when my phone buzzed with a piercing alarm from the security app. Warning: unauthorized access detected at garage door. Warning: backyard motion sensor triggered. I gripped my chest. I scrambled to open the live camera feed. In eerie infrared, I saw my sister and her husband, dressed like burglars, skulking in my backyard with a flashlight. My sister pried at a window with a crowbar while her husband tugged at the garage door. The high-quality microphone caught their whispers. She changed the locks. That sneak. "This window's stuck too. She's got heavy-duty locks now. Damn it. We'll have to break the glass. Do it quietly." This wasn't a family spat anymore. It was a premeditated crime. As my sister raised the crowbar toward the living room window, I hit the app's red alarm button. A deafening siren blared from my house, floodlights blazing, turning night into day. On the feed, they froze, then fled like startled roaches, all captured as irrefutable evidence. Taking a steadying breath, I called my local police station. Despite the international call, I explained clearly, sent the footage to their provided address, and was amazed at their swift response. Hours later, as dawn broke over London, my sister's frantic text arrived. "There are 5 police cars in front of the house. What on earth happened?" I replied coolly, each word deliberate. "Oh, you didn't know? Burglars tried to break in last night. I reported it to the police." Scary times. You should check your own locks. I knew she was one of the burglars. Her text was a desperate denial. I changed plans, booked a flight home, and by the time I landed, the news was waiting. My sister and her husband were arrested for unlawful entry, attempted property damage, and trespassing. Mr. Peterson, the sharp corporate lawyer I'd hired before leaving, called me. Jet lagged, I went straight to his downtown office, its atmosphere calm and authoritative. He displayed my footage on a large screen, analyzing it with precision. This is airtight evidence. Their planning and the crowbar elevate this beyond a family dispute. It's aggravated attempted burglary. They're in a weak position legally. Then he looked at me. Kristen, what's your goal? Prison for them, or to keep them out of your life forever? The latter, I said instantly. I just want peace. I don't care about punishment. Together, we devised a careful settlement strategy. Soon, their lawyer approached with a proposal. Criminal records would ruin her husband's and father-in-law's careers, leaving them desperate. When tears and threats failed, they had to negotiate. Mr. Peterson shared their outrageous claims with disbelief. They said it was unavoidable because you failed as the elder sister to support them. They even demanded thousands for renovation costs. Their shamelessness stunned me, no longer sparking anger but awe at their self-justification. Mr. Peterson countered each claim with calm precision, using the video as our unbeatable leverage. Any more unreasonable demands, and negotiations end, will go to court, and this footage will be released. Who do you think will be judged then? After weeks of back and forth, they accepted our terms fully. My sole condition, enforced through my lawyer, was non-financial. They were barred from contacting me, my home, my workplace, or my property in any way, physically, by phone, email, social media, or otherwise. This was cemented in a legally binding pledge, as strong as a restraining order, with severe penalties for any violation. They had no choice but to sign. On the signing day in Mr. Peterson's elegant conference room, word came that all four, my sister and her in-laws, had signed. Through the glass hallway, I saw them leave, heads down. My sister glanced back, her eyes a mix of hatred and a faint trace of tears. My heart remained still, like a lake's depths. The sisterly bond from our childhood was gone, erased entirely. Mr. Peterson handed me the signed pledges. Congratulations, Kristen. Your freedom is legally secured. I went to the police station and withdrew my complaint. The officer asked, "Are you sure?" My resolve held firm. 6 months later, my life is serene. No more silent calls, surprise visits, or malicious social media posts. I never realized how freeing it could be to live without bracing for someone's spite. My home, once damaged, is now more beautiful and functional than ever. The wrecked kitchen is now the spacious island kitchen I always wanted. On weekends, I host friends for cozy gatherings, cooking in my new space. At work, bolstered by surviving this ordeal, I've landed bigger contracts. My career and personal life shine again. I lost my family, or perhaps it was always a mirage. In its place, I reclaimed my dignity and control over my life. I learned that blood ties can sometimes be the heaviest shackles. Was I cruel? Selfish? Some might think so, but I have no regrets. This was a just, necessary fight to protect my home and my life. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more stories like this.